Hey, what's up, everybody? Mogi Monster here, and welcome to Why the Fascination, or WTF as I like to call it. Good to see everybody out there. Hope everybody's doing good. Welcome to Tuesday night. Hope everybody had a good weekend. What we got here tonight? Jen, how's it going? Hey, Prairie Friar. Good to see you. My eyes, what's up? Richie Evans, what's going on? Rex Hand, how are you? Mr. Lee, what's going on, buddy? Ida Bustamante, how are you? Who else? Grasshopper, what's going on, man? Good to see you. Sorry, my dog just showed up and is asking for some loving. It's Lucy, my little one. Angel Nolan, how's it going? Hey, Catherine Lundquist. Danny Stan, where you been, man? Greetings from North Carolina or South Carolina. Sorry, one of the Carolinas. Miss Nada Nada, what's up? How are you? Where's the old man? Hey, Claude, what's up, man? Michael Haywood? I know I'm missing some people. It's good to see everybody. Like I said, I hope everybody's doing well. You know, I was watching some shows earlier this afternoon or whatever, and just kind of it's one of those days where it's like, what's wrong with people? You know, I don't understand why people insist on stirring pots. You know, I kind of got annoyed when I saw somebody attack, whatever you want to call it, just get down on a friend of mine. And I'm friends with Jeff Harding, and I appreciate his channel and what he does, and I have no reason to doubt him, and never did. But there are people out there that are kind of like, talking shit about him, saying he's a hoaxer, or he's, maybe they're, because he's involved with Doug Highcheck, that, he's a hoaxer. I mean, I don't get it. Was he guilty by association? So it just bothered me a little bit. And, I asked Jeff to come hang out. So I'm going to bring him up here in a second. It's just, I don't understand some people's motives. I don't come out here and I don't have motives. I just come and hang out with you guys, and hopefully we have a good time, and you have, a place to chill for a while. And sorry, I just kicked the table. And I don't ask for anything. I'm not saying I haven't in the past, but I just don't understand. It's like people are trying to split up this community, and it's starting to piss me off. Not that it matters. I mean, who the fuck am I? But when you're attacking people that we hang out with every week, and think they have ulterior motives. It's just, I mean, yeah, there are some people out there that do. Or, yeah, no, there are people out there that do have ulterior motives, and maybe they don't really belong here, but they're here. But it's just disheartening, guys. I've been doing this for a while. I've been hanging out with the same bunch of people for years now. Years. You guys know me. And I don't know half of you. If you come on once in a while and say hi, I might know you better. What we know is what we see in chat. I mean, you guys go to all these different chats together. I don't frequent them that much, just because of the bullshit. But anyway, Jeff, what's up, man?
Hey, Mugs, how are you?
All right. I heard a rumor today. I heard you're a hoaxer.
Yeah, if there's a team of people investigating to see if I'm hoaxing, then I
Oh,
don't
that's
know. I
wasted
mean, they're
money.
probably going to be pretty disappointed. I'm pretty transparent, but I get it. First of all, I'm not one to avoid a conversation. I mean, I don't think it needs to evolve into some controversial discussion. If
No, not
somebody
at all.
had questions about me or something that I've done, I'd send me a message or pop or like a show like this, pop on. I would invite anybody who had taken any part in those conversations that had concerns about something, just come on, let's talk about it. But I'm not vain enough to think that everybody's gonna like me or worried that nobody will like me, or that's not the type of person I am. And when it comes to my encounter, I mean, when I first shared my encounter a year and a half ago on Cornell Hannity's show and on a few others, I'd carried that around for a long time, and I didn't do it expecting that 100% of the people that hear it will say, I believe him. I get where, I mean, honestly, had I not had that experience and I listened to somebody else who had that exact experience tell me what they went through, I don't know that I would believe them.
Sure.
No, that's just, I'm being as honest as I can be there. I think it'd be hard to hear anybody's experience and believe it if you hadn't had an experience. But so when somebody comes out and says, I believe Jay's encounter, I believe whoever, but I don't believe Jeff, that doesn't bother me. I mean, I certainly didn't share it with the expectation that everybody would. I shared it because I felt like if there's anybody else who had an experience like that and has carried it around, thinking that it's too taboo to tell anybody about or worried of the repercussions of talking about it, maybe it's just another opportunity to hear somebody say, I felt the same way,
Get it off your chest.
Because I think there is a burden there. I don't think people really understand the weight that they're carrying when they don't talk about something that happened like to them, and until they do talk about it, and then they feel like, wow, I'm glad I was able to say this, or somebody actually heard this and I didn't feel like it's something that I feel shameful of. But so I get why that there will always be people who will. I could say, hey, I bought a new car yesterday and it's blue, and there'll be people that won't believe that it's blue. I mean, this is going to happen in every facet in life.
Or they'll question why you bought blue and not red.
Yeah, whatever.
Red's a better color.
But and then when it comes to the association of moving my channel to Untold Radio, I certainly wasn't blind to the expectation that there will be people that feel the same as Lockbeard do, that question why I would do that. I've said for a long time in this community, even on your show, that the last thing YouTube needs is another YouTube channel talking about Bigfoot. And so I went a long time not starting a channel. And then after talking to a few people about, there is a niche of, investigation and research and people who are trying to get out there the tools and tactics and the techniques and things that other people are using, not necessarily me. That really isn't talked about. There's so many three-ring circus shock value approaches by all these channels trying to create clickbait, that maybe if somebody approached it from more of a genuine angle, it might not appeal to as many people, but there are people that it would appeal to. And that's why I started it. I wasn't recruited by Doug Hychek to join the Untold Radio Network. I had the idea of starting a network long before I ever had a discussion with Doug about it. I had talked to a couple different people. Anthony S4, unidentified S4, who is really more into ufology, not something that I'm versed in. I can't even say I have a serious interest in that. I haven't had any significant experiences in my life with UFOs,
Sure.
but I know that there are people that have. And so I talked to him, and I talked to a few others. I talked to Big Willie, who at the time was the weekend kind of host on Spaced Out Radio, who he talks about cryptids and Sasquatch and all different areas.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I had this idea that if we put together one channel, and instead of just one of us doing a show on Wednesday night or whatever, but maybe somebody else would do their normal show on Thursday night, somebody else on Friday, that it would become active enough on the channel that maybe it could grow faster. And when I talked to Doug about that, he said, that's not a bad idea. I didn't pick the channels that are involved in Untold Radio. Doug and his sons did. They looked at, and as a matter of fact, I suggested channels to them that they turned down. I'm like, hey, this would be a great guy. And they listened to it and they're like, eh. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, what they compiled is, I would say that my show and probably Russ Jones' show, Dr. Russ Jones, who's been a guest on my show before. He's a researcher from Ohio, works in the West Virginia and Ohio areas, doing field research, and he's wrote like 6 or 7 books. His show really focuses primarily on Bigfoot, and so does mine. I mean, the rest of those shows are kind of all over the board. And I've never hidden the fact. I mean, I speak about this very plainly on my show. I say, like, when it comes to Dogman, I don't know where I find a slot to fit that in,
No, I'm
from a flesh and blood standpoint. I've said that over and over on my show. But, for some reason.
I want to say I'm on the fence about it. I don't think I've gotten to the fence yet.
Well, here's the thing. If somebody sat down and said to me, I've got an encounter story I want to tell you about, and I'm like, okay, well, let's hear it. And it ends up being about Dogman, or it ends up being about a ghost, or it ends up being about a UFO or whatever. At the end of it, even if I thought this guy is off his freaking rocker, right? I would say, cool story, bro. I appreciate you sharing it with me. I don't know where I find the value in crucifying him or saying, I think you're crazy, or I'm going to do a show tomorrow night about how stupid you are. I don't get where that comes from. Isn't it easier to just live your life, find joy every day in the 90% of the stuff that exists, and in the 10% that you can't find joy, and just walk past it, right? I mean,
absolutely.
If we're going to walk through life and just say, I don't like that pisses me off, that rubs me the wrong way, and those are the only things we focus on,
it's all
you're going to lay in a hospital bed at 80 years old at some point and say, man, this life wasn't as fun as I thought it would be, So I don't get some of that, but,
but some people thrive on that shit, man, and that's what I don't understand. Is misery loves company. You're miserable, so fucking let's make everybody else miserable, or just stir the shit, or it doesn't make sense to me.
Well, and then like Mr. Lee said earlier on another show, and I see he's bringing it up again, that because I'm a real estate broker, that automatically means that I'm a bullshit
you're a bullshit artist. Yeah, I saw it.
I unfortunately 1/4 of the career path somebody could choose, whether you work at Home Depot or whatever, you're building value in something, and then you close on it and say, so what do you think? Would that work for you or not? If being in sales makes you a bullshit artist, I think that's a pretty ignorant, immature assumption. I think being in sales and building value in something may mean that people tend to be well-spoken and they're good at building value in an idea or a concept or whatever. maybe they're influential in the way that they do that because that's what they do with their work. But to say that it makes them a bullshit artist, I think is pretty unfair.
Sorry, there was a plane going overhead. I had to mute myself. Yeah, no, I agree because, you hear salesman, and when I think of a bullshit salesman, I think of a used car salesman. It's the cliche, But yeah, I mean, anybody, we're all salesmen if we're doing this shit. We're trying to sell ourselves and sell our show or whatever. Well, if you're doing it for the money or you're trying to, create something here, it's a salesman's not a bad thing.
Well, I mean, even and I mean this as a compliment, not as a trying to belittle somebody.
No,
I think Lockbeard is one of the best salesmen there are. To be honest, I mean, I know you might not want to give him that credit, but I'm just saying his show primarily focuses on his point of view, whether it's worldview, culture, science, all the different things that he finds himself talking about. He builds value in his point of view, and he tries to influence others to understand why he feels that way and to think the same way. I mean, he is an if he wanted to go work for Home Depot and convince somebody why they should buy a 54-inch wide cut riding mower instead of a 42-inch cut riding mower, he'd probably be really good at it.
Probably. No.
I mean,
it's that personality, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and that's why I said I'm not trying to belittle him. It's a compliment. He is good at building value. I don't get where, well, and I do understand why. When I don't think anybody looks at it. I mean, I had this conversation with Joe Snyder earlier today after his show. And after they had kind of been voicing opinions in his chat, I wasn't aware, I wasn't there, but I was talking to Joe, and Joe said, look, he says, we were talking about our relationship with each other, me and Joe. I said, Joe, I look at you like a brother and a friend, but still, I mean, 10% of what you say, I don't agree with. I mein, and that's not being mean. That's just
Only
saying
10?
I tend to focus on the 90% we do agree on and say, dude, I'm with you. Amen, brother. If I focus on the 10% that I don't agree with you on, how do you have any friends doing that? You could find any friend that you have, and if all you did was focus on the things you don't agree on, you wouldn't stay friends. I mean,
Not very long.
That's just the way. But some people are programmed to find the disagreement and to live in front of that. And I don't know. I mean, Doug Hychek is a research partner. I now am part of his network. And yet I would say that probably there's a good percentage of stuff that he says that I don't agree with, and vice versa. I'm not Doug Hychek, and he certainly isn't Jeff Harding. So, I mean, how there's guilt by association, anybody who watched my show from 3 months back earlier, which has been about a year that I've been doing it, and they watch a show now that I do, I don't know how they could say with a straight face that it's not the same show. Yeah. Nothing's changed.
I know. I've seen it. I've held off, but I am going to put the link in chat if you don't mind. Caucasian Sasquatch, what's up, man? I know there's a lot of people I didn't say hi to. Chessboard, what's going on? But yeah, let me put this link in there. Anybody wants to come on, chat, change the subject, contribute to the subject, whatever. It's up to you. But yeah, the link's there. If you've never used it before, it's pretty simple. Just click on it, follow the directions. All I ask is that you turn off YouTube in the background so we don't get that nasty echo. If you don't want to be on camera, down below there's a stop camera button. Just hit that. You don't have to be on camera.
Chessboard makes a good point, Jeff. If everyone agreed on everything, nothing would get solved. That's true. I mean, discussions and if we were all just quick to lay down and subscribe to each other's theories, would we really advance anything?
No.
Probably not, you know.
But it just seems that this like it's this whole Bigfoot subject has gone nowhere, you know, and people are trying, and then people get ridiculed for trying. You know, you went out of the box and you know, researched in a way that I think was pretty brilliant. We'll wait to see the results, you know, and I look forward to when they do come out one day, you know, but I'm not going to say, oh, you got to tell us, you know, what the results are today. You know, it's like,
yeah,
I don't realize it doesn't work that way, you know.
Judy brings up another good point. She said, you know, maybe part of the problem is that there's a lot of us that are A-type personalities, and you know, honestly, there's a lot of truth to that. But one thing that I've said a few times before is that just because I don't really, somebody rubs me the wrong way, or I don't subscribe to this, or, you know, I don't want to talk about him now that he's passed away in a negative light, because I don't have anything negative to say about Kerry Arnold. I've spent hours on the phone with him and we had great discussions. But there are times on his show where the way he would treat a guest or something, I just really rubbed me the wrong way, to a point to where I really didn't watch his show, if I'm being honest. But the few times that I did, just because of the way that I felt about the few things that he did that I didn't dislike, I still tried to be cognizant of the fact that I can learn something from him. I don't have to like somebody to be able to learn something from
Sure.
them.
I'm sure you didn't like half the teachers in high school, you know.
Yeah.
Hopefully you learned some. What's up, Scotty?
Hey now.
Hey, Scotty.
Scotty
What's going
Waddles
on?
from Chicago. From Chicago, I'm living in Harwood Heights.
All
Just
right.
called to
Chi-town,
say hey.
baby.
Jumping on to just say hey, and it's been a while since I jumped on. Been
Yeah,
watching.
man, it has been.
I've been watching every week, every Tuesday and Thursday.
Oh, right on.
Just haven't been chatting. You know, I just haven't been in the chat room. It's so difficult for me to chat and hit those buttons. You know, I just have a cell phone, so I don't even bother with that anymore. But I just been listening every week, and just I went
hope
to
you're
work.
enjoying it.
Wow, I love it, man. It's the best show on YouTube right now. You're number one to me, next to Sasquatch Chronicles and Strange Familiars. Like Strange Familiars, I don't hear a lot of people talk about. That's another one I absolutely love. And it's just all paranormal and Bigfoot and, you know, little green men and anything that's abnormal, you know, in life. And I'm all about
There's
that.
a lot of that.
Yeah, it's awesome. I absolutely love it, man. I have so many friends that I went to work about 3 months ago in a local pet store, and you know, it's just been like an old school reunion there. So it's been a rock and roll reunion. All the people that used to hang out at the Thirsty Whale and, you know, hang out in River Grove and the Grovers, they all coming in to buy dog food and cat food. It's been amazing. So I've been there, and you know, I'm like a herpetologist there and a doctor and veterinarian. It's been amazing. I'm treating all sorts of sick and injured, and I'm clipping nails and clipping feathers, and I'm going from the salt tanks to the bird room to the reptile room back to the rodent cages, and then back into the fish room. I smell like fish shit and rodent ass. By the end of the day, I smell like rodent ass and fish shit. But I absolutely love it. I mean, I absolutely.
That's a good job, man. That's a good job. I worked in a pet store as well. You know.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? Where at?
Years ago. This was back in Jersey.
In Jersey?
Yeah. And we
Fucking
did. You know,
man.
we had all lizards, Nile monitors, snakes.
Oh,
you know,
cool. Nile monitors, really?
Yeah.
Those are, you can't even get those no more, bro.
Yeah, no, this was, I
So,
was probably, I don't even know how old I was, 20, maybe
yeah. You know, it's
21.
like it's so much like working on a farm, working in a pet store, but
On
just then
on a micro
but
version.
but then you got to deal with pet store owners. Holy crap, they're a breed in themselves because who knows how to take care of a fucking pet store unless your family's been in it for 60 years. If you buy a pet store, you don't know what the hell you're getting into until you're in it, and then you got to deal with workers and you got to deal with death of $100 fish every freaking morning, and you're scratching your balls like, what? Why? I do all my water changes. Well, shit dies. You know what I mean? It's like maybe you got it. It was sick, and you know what I'm saying? It's like, and it's just, it's such a bizarre world of, amazement. But pet owners are some of the most lovable and amazing and comical people in the world. So I'm just having a riot there. It's fucking 10 hours a day goes by like boom, boom, boom. I'm
It's
telling
good.
you, it's
I
just
think that would be the coolest part of that job, isn't just what you have in the store and your opportunity to work with those animals, but to interact with different customers that
yeah.
come in and hear
Well, and
their
then my
stories and see their
pure
passions.
no, my pure love for animals and my pure love to make people be able to take care of these animals at home, because essentially when you stick a freaking exotic animal in a cage, it's a prisoner. You've now created a prisoner. And if you ignore that prisoner and just throw food at it every day, you're a bad keeper. You're not a good pet keeper. So
Yeah.
I promote good pet keepers. I promote the best way for you to take care of the animals you want to. And I don't want you to get too many animals at once that you can't handle. So I'm never going to oversell you. I'm always going to do the best interest because I want you coming back in 2 weeks and tell me how that animal's doing, because you're
Yeah.
getting your feeders from me. You're getting your information from. I want my best interest is your best interest, and I want to take care of your pets for you. You know what I'm saying? So,
I think that's something that happens a lot though, is that people get in over their head. They let their passion for animals to where,
but listen, I
you
want
know
to go back.
somebody who has
I want to go back to your sales and somebody hammering you for being a good salesman. I will rip them a new asshole for coming down on you for being a good salesman. Listen, if you're passionate about what you do and you love what you do and you're honest, F everybody else. That's all I'm saying. What more? What you're honest. I'm passionate about selling. Listen, I sold $110 fish today. And
yeah.
this guy put out and then he bought another $50 fish on top. I mean, these people are spending money. I'm a salesman, but I absolutely love it. If you want to hammer me for being I'm a good salesman. I sell a lot. I sell over $2,000 a day when I'm
Yeah.
working. That's why they call me into that pet store, because I'm a herpetologist. I'm an oceanologist. I'm a fuckatologist. You know what I mean?
Well, and
You gotta.
Scotty, honestly, people who you interact with, when you treat them right in an honest way, and you do put their best interests at the forefront,
Yeah.
those are the people that are going to go to work Monday morning and not just say, I bought a new hamster Saturday. They're going to say, go talk to Scotty.
Right.
That's what they do. I was a real estate broker for a long time. And I'm telling you, I didn't get a paycheck from a company.
Right.
If I didn't sell anything,
Right.
if I didn't close transactions and help people in a way that they felt they could recommend me, I didn't get paid. Okay.
You won't get the next houses either,
Exactly.
because it's
So
all
if
word of
you're
mouth at
buying a
that
house,
point. So shame on people. So go back to the people that they just don't understand about sales. They don't understand.
It is that look, the sales comment.
There's good and bad
is
sales
just
people
another
out there.
piece of kindling to throw on the fire. I don't know that they really put a lot of thought into the comment itself. To be honest,
I don't like people to hammer people. Just like throw out all salesmen are ridiculous. Or you know what? I know a lot of salesmen that are honest and they work very hard, and their name is on the line. Their families, they got children, their grandchildren their lives are on the line, and they put them on the line because they're honest and they sell a product that's good. And if you don't like it, same thing with anybody, you know what I mean? You're in real estate, you know, if somebody comes in and they're not ready to buy that house, you know, you're never going to push somebody over to get a house they can't afford or something ridiculous. Like, I would never push anybody that comes in with just a freshwater tank. If they have a 20-gallon freshwater tank, I'm not going to sell them a 70-gallon fucking saltwater tank with the over the protein skimmer. I'm not going to sell them $1,000 setup. No, I'm going to encourage them to make that fucking 20-gallon tank the best freshwater tank they can. Do water change. Listen, water changes, water changes, water changes, water changes, water changes.
Yeah, but you only do like 10% of the water anyway.
If you don't change the water every week in your fish tank, your fish are swimming in shit and piss. I don't care what.
You don't do 100% water change.
No. You do a 40. You do a 40 at the boat. You know, if you got a big tank, you could do a 40. You can do a 30. What, you feel it out? You know what I mean?
Gallons.
Well, I mean, the fact.
Sasquatch, what's up, brother?
What's happening, baby?
Sorry, I was just rattling on.
Where are you at, Moggs? I'm down on the coast of Savannah right now. Where are you chilling?
I'm in Central Florida.
Ballpark. That's close.
Man, I'm outside of Chicago. I'm by O'Hare Airport.
Is that the noise?
You could always move.
Wow, sound of silence. I'm not used to that.
Yeah, me neither. I usually feel the silences.
I love how passionate Scotty is, because there's a lot of truth to what he's saying. In when I represent a client in a real estate transaction, if I don't put their best interest, and if I'm not truthful, and if I'm not honest, and I don't build the right rapport in an honest way with them, I will never get a recommendation from them. Let's take it to the next step. If you don't have a good product, you're pushing bullshit then. If you're pushing a shitty product, if I'm pushing fish that are ready to die because they got ick and they got worms, and I'm pushing them like they're healthy, I'm a bad salesman. But if I'm pushing healthy fish and healthy tank, if you're pushing good homes, and then you have the confidence. You know what I'm saying? It has to start with being honest about the product that you have. That's the bottom line. And Mr. Lee made a comment earlier that I absolutely, completely agree with, and that's that everybody is entitled to their own opinion. It's one of the things I was talking to Joe about today. I'm a veteran. Joe's a veteran. One of the comments he made to me is, Jesus, Jeff, we spent years of our life away from our family and friends.
You're a hero.
Protecting people's right to be able to express an opinion that may be completely different than mine.
So you're the fucker protecting all these cocksuckers on YouTube.
Nobody understands that everybody has a right to an opinion better than a veteran does.
So you're the one protecting all the YouTubers.
You know what I ask people? I cover First Amendment this way. When they say they want to abridge the First Amendment in some way, I ask them where the bad words hurt them. Where did it touch you? Where did the bad words touch you, huh? Can you show me on this doll where the bad word touched you? And they all just give me a mean, evil stare, and they don't know what to say anymore.
I got a $75 hammer right here. I can either take it to build something, or I can fucking lump you on the head with it. What am I going to do with it? It's my choice. Yeah. My choice what I do. Now, either I use it for good, or I use it for
that
evil.
Is a crime, and people will show up to deal with that.
I'm making a point.
System to deal with it.
If I use it for good, then I'm a good guy. If I use it for evil, then I'm an evil person. It's like we have the choice every day.
It's not the hammer's fault.
No,
don't blame the tool.
It's like when the news. It's like when the news
Exactly.
started reporting that an SUV crashed into a building.
Yeah.
No, the asshole driving the SUV crashed into the
Exactly.
building. It's not
Or
the
whatever.
SUV's fault here.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's an amazing world. And like I got a second chance in life because I was in a wheelchair. You all know I was in a wheelchair and I was run over by a truck just going to get groceries one day, like 6 years ago. And I was run over and I spent 3 years in a wheelchair and I'm a tall guy and I went down, I lost a lot of weight. I'm at 205 now, man. I'm back at 205. I'm a freaking heavyweight again. I'm 6'2" and I'm 205. I should be about 245, 250 with muscle.
It's funny
But
that you made the
I'm a
comment.
heavyweight again. You know what I mean? That means a lot to me. 45 pounds I gained back in muscle. You know how hard that is?
You make that comment that I'm a heavyweight again because Michael Haywood just said Scotty is reminding me of a pro wrestler. Your passion about stuff is displayed in I mean, it's
all I got is love, brother. All I got is love, man. It's all I got is goodness and love, and all I don't have no plot to do any evil or to rip you off, or I'm not smart enough, so I just play stupid and be like, well, I'm just trying to, I'm just honest. You know what I mean? What else are you gonna do in life? You know what I mean? If I'm not skilled enough to rip people off in this new world. You know what I mean? I mean, I would just take a hammer and lump people on the head in the alley. You know what I mean? That's the old school way, but that never worked even back then. So, I'm clean and free. You know what I mean? It's just awesome. It's a whole new start, and it's exciting to be. And I've been on so many shows, and then in the last year, I've just been trying to rebuild my body and been really going back to work, and so I haven't been on any shows, and that's why I jumped off of the show. But now that I'm doing better, I wanted to jump back on and just
I think you've
let you
just
all
built
know
a
that
whole new fan base here, so you can probably hear as much as you want.
Well, one day I'm going to have a channel, and I'm going to have a channel where I don't talk a lot about my dreams and my goals, but I want to have an entertainment. I'm working right now to create puppets.
Don't take this the wrong way, bud. YouTube might not be the place to go with dreams and goals.
No, I get it.
I mean,
no,
I'm
it's
not
just
trying
I
to be an
want to
asshole.
go.
I'm just trying to give you some good, solid advice.
No, but I'm always willing to put myself out there and say what I'm always willing to take it to the next step, and I'm building just a little puppet company so we can go into hospitals and entertain the people that were like me. I don't care what age they are, and I have about 10 hospitals around here.
I love puppet shows.
And I want to go into their rooms. I already have the clearance for 3 hospitals already. I just have to build the puppeteers. That's the hardest part. So right now I'm building the puppets, and in the next 6 months I want to get it activated and get it going and start going in.
That's cool as all get out, because I was currently looking for pop holders that look like animals.
You have no idea. You have no idea how people's faces light up when you come into their room. They haven't seen anybody in a week other than doctors and nurses. Their families abandoned them. They're stuck in the hospital. They're probably dying or whatever. You can figure it out as soon as you get in there. But as soon as you do these puppet shows, it adds life to it. And I want to be there like you guys, every Tuesday and Friday, every Monday and Friday, or twice a week. I want to be in these hospitals to entertain these people at least for a couple hours, go in their rooms and have puppeteers and interaction, have a beautiful girl interacting with the puppets, and have like 4 puppets and a beautiful girl standing outside the puppets, and have a stage and and the whole thing. Yeah. And I did it already in the hospitals when I was in there. But
Michael Haywood said, talk about your dreams and goals. You never know who may help them come true.
I have something to say to that. That's a great point, because a few years ago, and I think I'd mentioned this before in your show, Mogs, I had gotten bit on the top of my right foot by a Western black widow, and I didn't realize it when it happened. And I was on a trip, and after like 2 days, there was like a red dot about the size of a golf ball on the top of my foot. And then like the third day, it was like the size of a baseball. I was like, whoa, what's going on here? And that's when I seen a black widow crawl out of a box that I had next to where I was sleeping. And I was like, dude, don't tell me that thing bit me, because I killed it and looked it up online just to verify that's what I was looking at. And I was like, oh, man. So I went to the VA hospital only because, not only just because I'm a veteran, I have insurance at the time, and I could have went to any hospital, but the VA had a doctor there who had just moved from New Mexico and was a infectious disease specialist who had experience with snake bites and spider bites and things.
Wow.
And I had to have surgery on my foot because the infection was so deep in that group of tendons and stuff that they had to like get
almost to the bone.
It.
Almost to the bone, yeah.
Well, I did go septic. I had to have an IV.
Really?
I had to have antibiotic infusions every day for 45 days.
45 days?
Mm-hmm. And I was in the hospital for 11 days. So what I did was...
You're lucky you lived through that treatment.
I didn't want people to think that this was a woe is me experience. So every day on Facebook, I was posting...
It is a woe is you. You lived through 45 days of...
Scotty, listen, I'd go into the hospital room of like a Vietnam vet, and I'd sit down and talk to them. And I realized that most of these guys that were in the VA hospital just wanted somebody to talk to. They want somebody to listen to them. And so I'd sit there and listen to them. And then I'd take my picture with them, and I'd go on Facebook and say, today I met Clarence, whoever. He was in Vietnam for 2 tours. This is the unit he served with. And I'd tell him a little bit about his story. And every day, these things are like starting to go viral. Like every day, there's hundreds of people that were liking what I was doing. And a friend of mine who's pretty wealthy said, Jeff, this is what I want you to do. I've got all these airline miles and hotel points built up that I can redeem them for Amazon gift cards. And I said, well, what are you talking about? Like how much? He goes, well, I don't know. He goes, let's call and see. So I'm in his office. He calls. He's got $5,000 worth of Amazon gift cards that he could give away.
Wow.
So he said, I want $100 increments, send me Amazon gift cards. 2 days later, they're there. And he said, I want you to go back and visit these veterans.
Personally give them to every vet?
Yeah, just say, hey, look, I don't know if you need sweatpants. I don't know if you need.
Awesome.
And so I started doing that.
Freaking
unbelievable.
The
reason why I bring this up, Scotty, is when you have an idea to go into a hospital and visit people, people are going to see value in that. And the right person sees that value is going to say, I want to be involved in this, Scotty. How can I help
I'm the engineer. I'm the engineer of doing it physically. I can't be the engineer or the money man or anything, but I'm doing it myself right now. But one day I would like somebody to jump in one day and help me. But right now I'm going to do it all myself. I'm engineering everything. I'm going to pay the puppeteers. I'm training them. It just takes, it takes to be the right person, because it's 4 people sandwiched next to each other in a little, and you're working a puppet yourself. So, and you're interacting with a pretty girl and a sick person. So we go in and there's no agenda. There's no religious agenda or political agenda. It's just to make that person laugh. So if you go in with an older person, we're certainly not going to do Pokemon jokes. You know what I mean? They won't even fucking know what that is.
Doing punch and juju.
We're going to gear it to the person that's in there and try to entertain them in a way that they... So I'm making puppets of the Three Stooges, the Roseanne Barr, and all these stars, Trump, and I'm making all the puppets of everybody back to, silent films, and everybody forward to political. But I mishmash them and have them. You have the Wizard of Oz interacting with Donald Trump and interacting with, you know what I mean? Like, and it's geared to the person, and it's all it's all just about joking about whatever. You know what I mean? It's keeping it light and real, and so it's never anything that anybody could point at and say, "Oh my God, you hammered these."
Sounds
It's not
ambitious.
hammering people; it's hammering ideas. I will be hammering ideas, taking it out on ideas, and you know what I'm saying. I won't be hammering a people, or I won't be hammering black people or white people, or what I'm saying. We'll keep it light.
The other thing to consider is that you're talking about somebody who's living in a closed room at that point, right? I mean, they don't get to go on walks. They don't get to go on journeys every day.
Very few.
So, you might be doing something with puppets that maybe 9 out of 10 people on the street wouldn't stop and watch. But for somebody in a hospital, this is like the highlight of their day. I mean, this
absolutely.
is really entertaining.
It really is, because the people that I would target there's a lot of people that their families have abandoned them, unfortunately. And my family, I have a huge Italian family, and they abandoned me. I hate to say it live, but they didn't come. They all rushed in the first week that I was in the hospital. They all visited me the first week and brought me cookies or whatever. And then they ignored me for 5 years after that. And it's like, you can't just all rush in the beginning and then never see the person, never talk to them. And I'm sitting there in the hospital, dying in a wheelchair, hoping my family would call me and keep me in touch with what's going on in the freaking real world. But then when nobody calls you and you get angry and you're like, where is everybody? And they take it out on you. And then suddenly you're a baby raper and you're a grandma raper, because I'm sitting in the hospital asking my family. It happened to me, man. So that's why I'm so passionate about helping these people, because I know that there are good families that have abandoned their people. I don't care. The least person in your family is the greatest person you should be helping. If you have money in your family and you have a person that's a scumbag, loser, dirtbag, and why aren't you visiting them and talking them up, elevating them to the next level? Why are you treating them like a scumbag? Why aren't you there for them? What does your money entitle you to? What is your job and your all the bragging you do, and you're on the lake all the time fishing? What does it do for you if you never help anybody in your family or anybody lesser than you in life? If you don't have a family, then pick one person that's motivated. Look around and use your senses and find the person that's motivated, that wants to be elevated. Find that person. They're right in your life. They're your neighbors, man. They're your family. They're people that you have their number in your Rolodex. That's all I'm saying. Yeah. And I'm passionate about helping people that have fallen on bad times, because everybody that could happen to the richest person tomorrow. They could lose everything. Yeah. And then where would they be?
It brings us back to the earlier conversation that we were having before you popped on, to where, the whole finding joy and what's in your peripheral and what's right in front of you. Right. You might not. It's just opening your vision up to what's happening around you, right? Don't let the world revolve around you. You look at the world, because there are people that need help all around us. And I'm not talking about like they need thousands of your dollars.
No, I'm not talking about dishing out money. I've never put out money. I'm not talking about putting out money. I'm talking about your time. I'm talking about your energy. I'm talking about your love, your care. I'm not talking about dishing out. Anybody could send money out, and you could send money to Africa. You could send money anywhere to help. And to me, that's great. That has its place. But I'm talking about if everybody just reached out to the people around them that are lesser than you and stop ignoring them and give them, if you're so awesome, then you would. Is that Caucasian Sasquatch?
Yes, man. It is. I got to go. I'm fixing to step outside, but I'll hop back up if you're still on.
Right, I tried to hop on last week and say hi to you. I've been watching you since the beginning. You were the first guy, Caucasian, that I ever watched, and man, he jumped off.
Damn. He just said he'll be back. How are you, Marty? Okay,
I think Marty's got YouTube.
Marty's got YouTube on.
I hear him. I hear myself.
How's it going, guys?
It's going. Do you
Fantastic.
have YouTube in the background?
No, I don't. Oh, wait. I'm so sorry. Oh, see, I'm
It's
such a
gone
rookie.
Newbies.
I'm a rookie. I can't help it. Sorry,
Is
guys.
that Buddha? Is that Buddha in the background?
Not in my
Studying.
background.
I'm studying to be a Buddhist now. I'm studying to be a Buddhist.
Are you?
Yeah, heck yeah.
Hey,
Well, as long as you believe in something.
spiritual, I mean, I'm on board with that.
Yeah.
Anybody who comes to my channel knows I'm spiritual over here.
Yeah, it's all about the love and the sacrifice, and it's all about, just being there for, for the good times, you know what I mean? To point out that there's still good times in the world. Hey, listen, plants are still germinating, animals are still getting impregnated, and life is still going on, and we got to jump aboard and enjoy it, man. I'm having a good time now, finally, 6 years later after being in the hospital, and I'm just like busting out and doing artwork and just going crazy, so I'm so excited to excite others, you know what I mean? If my passion can excite anybody to reach out and just do something. Your dreams, you know what I mean? There's so many dreams, and we sit on them, you know what I mean? And dreams are extra. They're extracurricular activities. So I'm excited about that part.
So have you ever had a Sasquatch encounter of any kind?
Oh, you know it twice.
Oh.
I had two of them, yeah.
And
I had one like way down south. I was a truck driver, and I forget the state that I was in. Please don't hammer me about the state, because I didn't know at the time, but now looking back, I can say that was definitely a big. I saw glowing eyes in the darkness when I was a truck driver, and I was sitting at a truck stop, sitting at a backed into a building in like Tennessee or I don't know, Mississippi or one of those southern states. I don't know. I'm sorry. It was one of those. I could tell you the town.
What color were the eyes?
Red.
So were mine.
Red. And they were huge almond eyes. And I thought it was an owl. So when it was dark, and I had to sit there all night. So when I first got there, you go in, you unload your shit, you're about 2 hours, then you come out and you sit in your truck, and then you sit there for 6 hours waiting for the paperwork to clear. Your truck's already unloaded and you're sitting there at the dock. And so I'm sitting there and I'm looking at these eyes and I'm like, I thought it was an owl. But then in the morning when the sunlight came, I went over there and walked over to where the eyes were, and I saw the Bigfoot footprints all the way in the grass. I saw that there was no branch for an owl to sit there, and I'm like, holy shit, what? And it didn't, even at the time, it didn't click in until like about 6 years ago. And then I was like, holy crap, that was a Bigfoot. It was standing there. You could see it walked up. There was a mountain behind it. And he was right in the darkness. You know how where the darkness meets the light? He was standing just in the darkness. But then
I love it. I love your passion. It's insane.
It's so freaking unreal.
It's awesome.
So that was the first time I saw a Bigfoot, like a real Bigfoot. But then the second time was the scariest thing. It was right here, right down the block from here. And it's always when like I'm at an emotional point in my life where there's like an emotional time. And the only reason I'm in the woods is because I'm having an emotional breakdown, and I go to the woods when that happens. You know what I mean? I go to walk with the trees. And you know what I'm saying? And so then I was out there, and I had a fire going, and it got dark, and I was right in the woods on Lawrence Avenue, Lawrence and River, the Des Plaines River, which is like River Road and Lawrence, in like River Grove, down the block from here. And I'm there, and I'm at the fire, and all of a sudden I see the quintessential shadow behind me, and I hear the mind speak, "Get the hell out of here." Get the hell out of here. Get out now. I heard the mind speak in my head, and I said, why would I have to leave right now? These are my woods. You know what I mean? I live here. And he said, because my wife is coming and she will eat you and your babies. You need to leave now. And it was a big black shadow that was like 2 refrigerators next to each other. It was bigger than the Sasquatch I saw with the red eyes. It was huge. And in my mind, it told me that his wife was coming with the babies, I guess. That's the only thing I can imagine. And so if you go back to all the encounters in if you go back to all those encounters in like Sasquatch Chronicles, and I'm saying when the Bigfoot screams at you and tells you to get out of there, it's probably because its wife is coming with the babies and she will demand that the male kill you when you're around the baby. So the male is warning. The male comes to you and like, listen, my wife's coming and she will make me eat you.
Hey,
She will make me.
Scotty, before you have a heart attack, dial it down like 50%, man.
But I'm just saying, that's what I believe.
He has that dialed down.
No, there's no dial.
Dial
The dial
down.
got smashed in the accident 6 years ago. Sorry.
Yay! What's going on?
Beautiful. Jay's good.
Awesome.
Good, Jay.
I'm at my hair.
How are you?
I've got one last fling. I'm letting my hair grow out. I'm at the bozo phase right now.
Letting it grow out, huh?
Yeah, I'm at the bozo phase, Russ.
Wow.
Well, Bozo's from Chicago, so you know. Come on now.
So how you doing?
We got the
Jeff?
studios.
How you doing, Mogs?
I'm doing pretty good. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm
Look
good. I'm good. Thank you. I can't complain. You know.
Who's gonna listen
a lot
anyway?
A lot of blessings in my life.
I'll listen.
Lots of blessings. So I'm a happy girl. I can't.
Well, that's good that you count them. You know, not enough people do.
Oh,
if you can count your blessings, man, you're way ahead. If you're counting them, like
everybody is blessed. It's just a matter of whether or not they recognize it or not.
Amen to that, Jeff. Amen to that.
Right.
I was watching a little of your show, Marty, but I had to leave because I got a barbecuing chicken in the crock pot.
Oh, is that actually barbecuing?
Yeah.
And you didn't even invite me.
And I had to look at it.
Yeah.
You have to go check
45 minutes, man. 45 minutes. You got to flip it halfway through, baby.
Yeah. I had a really good guest tonight. Jeremiah Fountain. He was amazing. Amazing. That guy's got so much experience and been researching for so long. And
I just want to say I cooked a whole Thanksgiving dinner for me and my mom this year. I cooked the whole damn thing, 6 hours it took me. The turkey, the Brussels sprouts, the broccoli, the sweet potatoes, the wild rice, the stuffing, everything, man. It was amazing.
Right on.
Just saying.
That's awesome.
Good job. It's awesome. We spent Thanksgiving in the woods.
Yeah.
Even better. I'm jealous.
Why didn't you invite me? I got a huge, gigantic McMansion tent, man. We could have met you up there. You and Stevie.
Yeah, we went down to the 168 where they, we did that. We were there. We were there last.
For me.
Yeah, we were there last year for Thanksgiving, so we figured we'd do it again this year.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. Till I got involved with the fire ants.
Oh yeah. The fire ant thing is.
Yeah, don't wear sandals camping.
Yeah, no.
They're amazing, those fire ants. They're something else, man. They could take down a human in like less than 5 minutes.
Boy, they leave some mean blisters on you too.
That's the problem is the blisters.
Don't fall asleep in their territory. Don't fall asleep with a jar of honey on your stomach.
I can barely hear you, Mose.
I don't know why.
I don't know either. It's like
I noticed Jay's
Check.
mic volume was the highest I've ever heard it when he came on.
Well,
He
that's
came in, his volume was booming.
because that's what because like Scotty's is also very, very loud.
Let
So
me
maybe
check
it's
my
a different-
settings.
That's because I have a headset.
I was gonna say
on.
that's not Scotty's mic, that's just Scotty.
Check.
No, I have a headset on, so my microphone is 2 inches from my face. So yeah, and I have, humongous lungs. So
How about now?
Yeah, that's
Sounds
a little
good.
better. Yeah.
Am I still too loud?
No,
You're always too loud.
You're good. You're good, Jay.
well, that's a sensitive mic, Jay. It picked up that whole
Your dog
fart
farting.
from. You could tell it was a little wet, just the way it rang through your microphone.
Now put your dog down.
Hey, Jeff, did I tell you after doing your show, what was that, about 3 weeks ago?
Mm-hmm.
This past, was it just, no, it's like Thursday, Wednesday or Thursday last week. I got called by a local radio station down here wanting me to interview on there until I turned them down. I told them I didn't. I'm not in this to be known. I do this just for the therapy of talking about it.
What was the show about?
It was Jay was sharing his encounter on my Pine Island Research channel, and Jay, when I tell you this, I have had no less than 24 emails from people and messages in messengers saying that they really, really appreciated that show, hearing you talk about just the genuine approach that you took. And I mean, so often, and that's one of the things that last night I was talking about with Seth Breedlove from Small Town Monsters. He just got done doing almost 20 interviews with different people up in the Kenai Peninsula. And he said, it's not so much the stories, it's the emotion and the way that they tell it and the genuine nature in which and you see their face and how they are in your presence when they're sharing this. Their body
Right. It's the realism that they're reliving,
It's not the story that's fascinating a lot of times.
Yeah.
It's the person and the way that it affected them and how they convey that when they share it. And I think the way that you share your story resonates with an awful lot of people.
Absolutely.
I agree 100%. I agree 100%. I do. I think
you're muted, Jay.
I think that more people have that reaction than any other reaction. That deep, profound terror.
Well, a lot of people that see Bigfoot aren't ready for the paranormal. And I was raised on paranormal. I've seen paranormal since I was 3 years old. So I've seen so much in my life that it's so common to me. But other people that haven't experienced, they might freak out and it might affect them in a way, because a lot of times I've seen thunderbirds. I've seen so many I've seen so many different things, and you always ask yourself 2 seconds after it's gone, did I really just see that? Did I really just see what I just thought I saw? And so you're already asking yourself 2 seconds after it's gone, if you just saw it to yourself, if you're alone. I've seen UFOs 3 different times, and I've had 3 different people next to me to verify it. And so, I've seen more things than I could talk about. I've seen a water dragon. I've seen, crazy creatures that we can pass off to old. I've seen mermaid. I've seen a mermaid. I've seen so many different things that it's just like, it's just common now. It's common to see crazy things for me.
Well, I think that's an individual kind of thing, Scotty. I think that not all of us can see all of these things, but there are people who apparently have abilities and are able to see those types of things. I know a few myself. I personally don't see anything. I mean, I have abilities, but I don't see things.
I don't see anything either.
Yeah, I don't see anything, but I hear things, I feel things, I intuitively know things. I'm an empath, so it's not, it's just, I think it's just an individual thing. But I will say, I kind of think sometimes though that I think that, not saying anything bad about the guys, but I do think that I think females are able to compartmentalize things a little easier than men. It's just my opinion.
I'll say with
Wait. Let me finish.
Okay.
So I feel like sometimes when I have had my own conversations with people and interviews on my show, one of the things that, I when I talk to females, they don't seem to be as deeply affected or traumatized by the experience, where a lot of men are traumatized and sometimes even have, PTSD. And it's just from what I see and the people that I have talked to, it just seems like, I think that females are able to compartmentalize a little bit differently than men.
Well, I just want to say this right after that, because I'm asking the question. It's all about your third eye, and if your third eye is all calcified, and I'm asking, is women's third eye more uncalcified, and do men's third eye get more calcified because of our diets and our lifestyle, and because
I can tell you that,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I can tell you my experience. I can't speak for all men or all women about their third eye, the condition of their third eye. Yeah. All I can tell you is mine. I meditate all the time. Mine is definitely not calcified.
Right.
I also, I can't speak for everybody, and I don't think
Mine has cataracts.
I don't think it's a gender kind of thing. So, I think it's
I think.
What do you want to say, Jay?
I was going to say, am I muted? No.
You're not muted this time.
What I was going to say was, what was interesting to me about the whole thing was, I asked him, I said, how did you find out about me? He said, the guy at the radio station said that he got it from another person that watches a lot of YouTube, and it just shows you how we're getting around.
Word of mouth gets out there.
Right. That's what I was getting to.
Sure.
That's all I wanted to say.
I just wanted to know what the radio show was. What was the theme of the radio show? Is it like a shock jock radio show, or was it a cryptid radio show? How did they approach you?
No, it was two guys. They got a early morning here in Sebring, a local the radio station.
That's pretty awesome, considering they saw you on Jeff's show.
Yeah.
Cool.
Well, I think that the offer was flattering, Jay. I can see where you would be appreciative that they would consider you to do that, but I don't blame you for turning them down. I mean, there's you never really know what you're walking into with that, if they're looking to exploit the shock value.
They could edit you and make you look like an idiot if they wanted to. You know what I mean? You have to always appreciate that.
That's another thing I was thinking about too.
Yeah.
Marty, I wanted to mention, by nature, the way that women are open to things that maybe men aren't. Yeah. It's interesting because outside of, our community, you see that a lot of times documented. I mean, one of the most famous books talking about men and women are what men are from
Men are
Mars,
from
women are from
Mars and
Venus,
women are
whatever.
from
Yeah.
Venus.
And if you read that, there's an interesting analogy that they draw is that a man's brain is like a shoebox that we're capable of putting one thing in. Okay. I'm watching the football game. I got the football game in my shoebox.
Yeah.
Talk to me about what we're getting somebody for Christmas. I have to take the football game out of the shoebox. I have to put that subject into it, and now we can talk about that.
Yeah.
Whereas women's brains, it's like a shoebox that when you
Yeah.
open it up, there's wires crossing each other and sparks
They
flying out
can
of it.
do
And I
they can
smell
do
like
15 things at once and be
wires
thinking
and
about the past.
burning.
They can be reminiscent about the future. They can be planning the present. They can
This shoebox is currently trying to solve the world's problems all at once. And so when a woman thinks in that way, and I'm not saying all do, but,
Yeah.
they tend to have a peripheral that is more open and aware of what's going on around them. Whereas maybe, again, not all men are like this, but maybe we're a little more laser focused on I'm a problem solver. I'm a man. I'm a problem solver. I'm trying to address what's in front of me right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. We are the ultimate multitaskers. That's what we can do. Very, very, very well.
I'm trying to figure out who has feedback.
It's not me, I don't think.
It's not Jay, I don't think, because his mic is muted. I don't think it's me because I muted my mic.
Scotty just muted and it went away. Unmute yourself, Scotty.
How about now?
I don't
Keep
know.
talking. Yeah, it's there.
It's on Scotty. Do you have YouTube in the background? Or it actually sounds like an immediate echo, so
It sounds more like a connection, like a USB plug-in on a mic or something like that.
Yeah, nothing's open. I just have a headset on.
Is that what you're using as a microphone, your headset?
Yeah, like my earbuds.
Yeah.
I don't have anything else. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able. I'd have to
Make
really
sure it's plugged in well, fully.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's still. I hear that. It's like a buzz almost.
That squawking.
Yeah.
That's just a
Maybe we're hearing in Scotty's head.
Yeah.
It's ever since Jeff opened that shoebox.
Damn it, Jeff. You're always causing trouble.
It's my middle name, evidently.
Although,
I always thought it was Steven, but I've learned better.
Who knew?
Hey, Jeff, can I tell you something?
Hmm?
Can I tell you something?
I would invite you to tell me something.
Okay. So I never wanted to leave a comment to say this on somebody's channel because that to me was but we're all good friends here, so I feel like I can tell you this, but can you do me a favor? You don't have, I don't care if you do it for anybody else, but if you could do it for me, when you have your guests on, when you open your candy wrapper, mute yourself.
I'm making little adjustments like that on the fly.
All we hear is crackle, 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 crackle. And I'm like, oh no, it happened again.
Candy wrappers. Oh.
That's it.
So I will say this one thing about moving my show to the Untold Radio Network on Monday nights. I now have a production team that critiques every show.
Oh.
And I look, I'll be honest with you. I people will say, and I read it in the comments today, Jeff's a shitty host. Okay, look, I'm not gonna argue against that. But I'm trying to get better. And I'm learning things as I go. I think that
we all are.
If you watch the show that I did last night with Seth and them,
I haven't had a chance to yet.
Of course, they're two guests that are very versed at talking about what they talk about. Occasionally, you'll get a guest where you'll say, "Dude, I heard about this project you're working on. We all are really excited to hear more about it. can you tell us more about it? And they're like, yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and that gets hard. But like last night, my guests were, man, I just asked them a question and sit back for 15 minutes and they just go, right?
Yeah.
So, and I'm learning as I go in how you ask those questions so that you can hit the cruise control, So, I'm trying to get better at what I do as a host. I certainly wasn't. I have nothing in my background that would give me any qualifications to grab a mic, turn on a camera, and do something like that. So,
listen, it takes so much courage just to do it, just to even to try it. It's
well, and here's the thing. I chew tobacco. Mostly when I'm hunting or fishing or whatever. So when I'm sitting here for 2 hours doing a show, it's like I have a pile of Jolly Ranchers there, so that I don't want to smoke. I don't want to put a chew in. I try not to do that, but
we get it. I just
So
thought
Marty, what you're saying is Jeff's got a big mouth. Is that what you're saying?
No, that's not what I said.
She's saying my mic is sensitive enough that a Jolly Rancher
in my mouth, Jay.
is like a pack of firecrackers going on.
It's funny. I used to be so conscious of every little sound. Like when I first started, I had my little studio, and I was like, I'd put like, I'd put a sign on the door like on air or whatever, but now it's like I do it outside. I don't care if the dog barks. I don't. It's like whatever.
Scotty, I hate to tell you, but it's getting worse.
Yeah, Scotty, I have you. I'm gonna keep you muted if you want to talk. I'll just put your hand up or something, because that feedback is getting louder. So I have you're muted right now.
I know. I've kind of had that. The funny thing though is with my show is that now that the people know that I'm like that I have abilities, so sometimes they'll be like, "There was an EVP," and I'm like, "It wasn't an EVP. It was my cat using the litter box that's on the other side of the room." It's like it was not an EVP, guys. Like, calm down. All right, I don't have any EVPs going on. Like, it's funny how things.
Unless the cat's name is EV, then it's
right. It's not. I don't know. It's fun though. It's fun.
Yeah, it's not for everyone. Or maybe it is. I don't know. I think everybody should try it. I think everybody in chat should at least come on once and just get on and be like, "Hey, what's up?" and get that feel for it.
Yeah.
The most I did before coming on YouTube as far as putting myself out there was a karaoke. I was a DJ doing karaoke.
Oh man, I bet you were good at that.
It was fun. But yeah, that was really the only time I put myself out there in the public as an MC or whatever. But watching YouTube, and I'm like, I can do that. Why not? So here we are.
Everybody loves.
I encourage anybody. You think you can do it? Try it.
Exactly. If I can do it, anybody can do it. Trust me. Jay, you should do it. Like, if I can do it. Did he race off to go get his hair cut?
He probably doesn't realize that is.
They went to get him
a
chocolate malt or something.
Yeah, he's at Sonic right now. He's in the drive-in.
Where'd you go, Jay?
Couldn't find a
I had my car sideswiped 3 weeks ago, and I finally got a hold of Progressive and talked to somebody today.
Yeah, that's why you emailed them the picture.
That's like, damn, his voice changed.
Yeah, Randy, I emailed them the picture.
That was the best.
She didn't realize I was on cam.
I love it.
Live television.
You never know what's going to happen.
You never
And
know.
thank God, in 2.5 years, nothing's happened. It's been cool.
Well, she
I've
might as
never
well
had,
sit on the arm of that chair and get on camera with you now, Jay. We all know she's there.
That's the daughter.
Well, Mogs, I'll never forget the morning because I usually listen to your show in the mornings when I'm getting ready for work. Like I'll kind of listen at night, but then sometimes I'll fall asleep and I listen in the mornings. So I wake up, I'm getting ready for work, and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna put on. There's no show. I'm like, wait a minute. I know he was on last night. It was like some show that got taken down, and I was like bummed as heck. I was like, what the heck happened?
Yeah, that was a YouTube glitch. I mean,
Like,
it went back up.
I was like, what the heck? So
yeah, I've never had any issues with YouTube or no strikes or nothing. Just not like some people.
I think it's just I don't know. I just think that I think a lot of times when people get these like strikes, I think a lot of it's because maybe they've ticked off the wrong person and met somebody's out there causing you trouble sometimes. That's what I think. I don't know.
It's possible. I mean, but if you're gonna use, do anything that's gonna get you a strike, then try to avoid it. I mean,
exactly.
Like if I'm gonna play a song or if I'm gonna sing or anything, I'm gonna put the credit in the description. Exactly. And I think that's all you really have to do is give them the credit and put the publishers or whatever. Mm-hmm. So I will go to a YouTube channel that plays that song, go into their description and just copy it. And post it. So hey, they got the credit. I mean, it's a simple thing to do, just so you don't have to put up with the bullshit.
Yeah.
Michael Haywood. He's cracking me
the comments. So, I guess I could over here, huh? Couldn't I?
He said I got
kicked out of my 7th grade talent contest for singing AC/DC. My 5th year of 7th grade.
He was 25 when he graduated high school, but
the 8th grade.
Russ, that show you had the other night with Old Buzzard and Mike. Oh, my God, that was hilarious.
That's one show I'd like to promote just because that was funny as hell.
Oh, it was so funny.
That's a guy who should have he shouldn't have an evening show. He should have a 9 a.m. coffee with Buzzard show where he just talks about whatever you want to bring up in chat.
Yeah.
That's one guy who could read every comment in chat and respond to it, and you wouldn't quit laughing the whole time.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And he never stays still. He's always moving. Did you notice that?
Lots of energy.
He's very animated.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
For sure. I guess we lost Scotty.
What's that? Old Buzzard says, "By God."
By God.
So thank you very much.
Have you seen Old Buzzard yet, Marty?
I've just seen, around, but not.
He is a character.
I don't know him though.
He is a character. I mean.
And then Michael Haywood came on and encouraged it. Barry Browning, what's up, buddy?
Michael Haywood is pretty funny.
Who is?
Michael Haywood.
Oh yeah.
He's a riot. I don't know why he doesn't come on your show more.
Barry Browning is in chat. He doesn't come off on YouTube a lot. He doesn't go out. But when we were at the 168, he was the funniest person in the world. Holy shit. He was funny. We all were. It was just an amazing time, but he was just boom, 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 boom. On top of everything you said, he had a comment for it. And it was
I love those kind of people. I love that. It's so entertaining. That's why I love doing my the Monday night show that I do with Matt, because it's just fun. It's just, he said to me before we started doing that show together, he said to me, he's like, Mom, I want this show to be what it's like when we're all hanging out, having a few beers on the front porch. I'm like, fuck yeah, I'm on board. Let's do it.
Pass the beer.
Exactly. Like, let's do it. So that's my favorite show, because we just get to be ourselves. It's great.
And that's the way it should be. You
Yeah.
know, there's no reason to be all uptight and,
Mhm.
like so
Well, and in that kind of a
goal-oriented.
setting, even if somebody said something that pissed you off, by the time the fire goes out, you're friends again. I mean, that's just the
Exactly.
way it works. I mean,
That's right.
Some people just need to grow up.
Yeah. There are.
There's that. Yeah. Like I
Like,
said the other day, it's like we're in fucking high school.
Yes, I swear to you, it's just like that. It is. I mean, that's why I try super hard to like stay out of drama. Like, I don't do drama. I don't do drama in my personal life. I'm
I might
definitely not
address
doing
it,
drama on my
you
channel.
obviously. But
Huh?
yeah, I don't deal with drama in my life
Yeah.
either. It's like
Mm-mm. It's like, no.
I have better things to do.
Yes. A million other things that we could be doing other than having drama. But I think I feel like our community is starting to kind of build bridges, and I think we're getting there. I think we're making progress.
Crow Creek, what's up, man? Good to see you. Haven't seen you in a long time. Great to see you. Yeah, it's just upsetting to see certain people who just kind of like, try to split the community or just try to make it's like, why? Are you jealous of something, or are you mad at something, or why try to destroy what's we have grown to love and appreciate. And I'm not out to prove shit here. I don't. I'd like to see Bigfoot, sure. Just for my own knowing. I don't want to prove anything to anybody. I'm not a researcher.
Mm-hmm.
I go out in the woods and camp and see what I see.
Right.
I'm not out there, setting up cameras and, I might film a little bit while we're out fishing or something, but, I just don't understand why, who are some of these people to say shit to anybody? What are they doing out there?
Mm-hmm. You're right.
Well, there's people in this world that have to have the attention on themselves all the time.
Yeah.
And if they can't have the attention, they'll draw the attention. So it's about them.
Sure.
Yeah. Well, I think sometimes some people like to create a division so that they can, and I'm not naming no names, I'm not saying anybody in particular, but I think that it's all about the money. And when they create division, then they split us apart. I just mean in the collectively, like in this in this fringe of a fringe that we're in.
Yeah. People. I heard that from a lot of people. Moving to the Untold Network was a money move for me. Well, I just got my first share of our revenue check for the last 3 months, and I can tell you that in the last 3 months, I made $16.81.
Yep.
Yeah, you're not going to get rich having a channel, but I wasn't talking about that. I'm not talking about channels that are kind of like coming together under an umbrella. I don't see anything wrong with that at all.
No, I don't.
I think it's great. I think it's amazing, because I know that when I go to the Untold Radio Network and I have how many shows I can choose from. I like that, actually.
But here's the thing, Marty. If one of those shows was not your cup of tea, like you're okay with Sasquatch, you're okay with this, you're okay with that, that I don't get into. Do you light the whole thing on fire, or do you?
No,
or
you just don't watch it.
One of the things I said with Joe today in our conversation was, it'd be like if I was a fan of the Buffalo Bills, but I hated the Dallas Cowboys, and I said I can't watch any of them because they're all part of the same league. Or
I mean, listen,
I love
That's
this
cutting
show
off
on
your nose to spite
History.
your face.
I
will
love
say-
this show on History Channel, but
Mhm.
because there's another show on a different night that I absolutely hate, I can't watch any shows on History. That doesn't make
Yes,
sense
it's
to
crazy.
me.
No, it makes no sense. I will, I'm not going to say exactly which show, but there are a couple shows on the network that I'm just not a fan of. I don't resonate.
There's a couple of
with them.
shows I'm not a
don't-
fan of.
Yeah,
and
but
I'm
I just don't, if they don't resonate with me, and that's okay.
Right,
sure.
So then I'll go over to Texas Front Porch and check out one of their shows that they have.
Here-
Or you
Here's
know
the
what I mean?
thing, though.
There's
I look at it.
plenty. There's plenty of opportunities for all of
Oh,
us
sure.
out there.
I look
Absolutely.
at it like this. If I wasn't part of the network, I would probably look at my show and Russ Jones' show just because they're Sasquatch related and say, I have an interest and a passion on those subjects. Okay.
Mhm.
The other ones, if I'm not really connected to the subject of ufology or whatever,
Mhm.
I'd still find them entertaining.
Yeah.
I don't watch it saying I've got to learn more about this. So I might just watch it for the entertainment value.
Mhm.
Or I might choose to not watch at all. And quite honestly, there's a show or two on there that I really don't tune into because it just is. I think a lot of it is like you said. I don't know that I just resonate with the flow of it. And there's people not blind to the fact or vain enough to think there aren't people that feel that way about my show. And I invite them to say, that's your opinion. Exercise whatever you want. If you don't want to watch it, don't watch it. It doesn't crush me if you don't watch it.
Right.
What really, I think, blows some people away is the idea that I don't create a show for them. You know,
Did
I
you
don't
ever-
think,
No,
boy,
wait.
will Lockbeard
Have
like
you
my
ever-
show today when I go over
No,
creating a show?
Go back. Have you ever created a show for everybody else?
Listen, I've never created a show with one person in mind. I could care less about
Right.
that.
It's your show, right? So you're doing your show your way. That's how
I
it's
didn't. I
always
was
been.
before prior to today.
Mhm.
I was never aware that I owned a dungeon that I had people chained up in, making them watch my show. I was not aware of that.
Wait. What are you talking about? Did I miss something someplace?
Yeah,
I must have missed something too. I came in late and I saw that
Jay.
somebody must. What
High
did somebody?
five. Wait.
Somebody
This way,
criticized
this
you.
way, this way.
I
High
came
five,
in late.
Jay. Okay, I don't know what it. So, are you talking about like maybe there were people that were put on a timeout or something like that?
No, nothing to do with my show. It's people creating a show saying that they hate the fact that I'm part of the Untold Radio Network. They hate Doug Hychak. They hate actually when they were addressing what they didn't like about me.
Uh-huh.
Instead of talking about what they didn't like about me, they talked about what they didn't like about Doug Hychak and Les Stroud. And I'm thinking to myself, if that's the narrative of how you express what you don't like about, I'll take that. That's pretty good company. Not that I believe everything Les Stroud and Doug Hychak says, but I am an ant compared to them. Okay,
Sure.
I'd make a show that I try to appeal to a niche. And if you don't like it, that's fine. I'm not making anybody watch it. There are 100,000 different options at that time slot on
Right.
YouTube to go watch. And if somebody's going to lose their mind over what I'm doing, I've never I've tried to be pretty transparent in how I conducted my show and how I do interviews and things like that. I don't jump on the woo train. I go out of my way to kind of preempt some of those subjects. I actually have said several times on my show, like the Dogman thing, right?
Mhm.
I'll listen to a Dogman encounter. I'm entertained by it. I love listening to anybody share a life experience that was impactful to them with me. I'm honored that they chose to share it with me. Doesn't mean I believe it. It doesn't mean, but if I don't believe it, I don't need to crucify him over it. I'll just say, hey, thanks for sharing it with me.
Sure.
But when we talk about things that, in my research, I have to approach the subject as if I'm pursuing data on a flesh and blood creature. And when my research shows me that there's something other than that, then I'll pay attention to that. I haven't seen that yet.
Yeah.
But I will say it may or may not have some supernatural capability. I'm not going to say it doesn't. I'm just going to say I don't have the research data to show that it does, okay?
It's interesting that you bring that point up, because I talked about that with my guest on my show tonight. We talked about that, about researchers follow data, right? So what my research tells Marty, is that there's more to these beings than just flesh and blood. That's my research, because that's what I've encountered and that's what I've experienced. But it doesn't mean that everybody has that same experience. And all of us have different, and it's all about individuality, because not everybody's encounter is exactly the same. Some of them may share some similar details here and there, or descriptions may kind of sound similar, or a situation could be similar to another encounter, but everybody has an individual experience. So I don't have any issues with anybody's channel as long as they're not out there. I don't think any of us do any good for the subject matter when we're infighting and we're fussing and fighting over Doug Hychak. I mean, not for nothing, but Doug Hychak is extremely successful. He's very intelligent, and he's done. I think what he's done is a really good thing. I don't have anything bad to say about that whole network. I think it's amazing.
I don't have a problem with anybody expressing any opinion that they have, whether it's good or bad, of Doug or anybody else. They have a right to do that.
Yeah,
I'm not trying to say that.
And if somebody doesn't like it, but they shouldn't be constantly having shows about how they don't like how other shows get along with other shows. That would be like somebody saying, "Oh, Marty finally went on Moses' show and now they like each other. Oh my God, I'm never going to watch her again." Like, do you know what I mean? Like, that's just so, it's infantile.
It is.
It's
What's
nothing but drama.
What's infantile about it,
Don't worry
Marty?
about them. Just do your thing, dude. Just keep doing your thing.
What's infantile about it, Marty, is when they try to justify their reasoning, and they'll say things like, Doug started this network and he's going to have 7 shows over 7 nights. He's sucking all the air out of the room for little channels like us. That was one of the things I heard. And I'm thinking, you must want to murder Joe Rogan right now. I mean, seriously. I mean, there are 100,000 YouTube influencers that are killing it compared to Doug Hychak. But I don't see him on your hit list, sucking your air out, you know?
Yeah.
So it's these little justifications for having these problems that don't make any sense to me. But I'm not going to say somebody doesn't have a right to express their opinion.
Yeah.
Hey, Jeff, take a breath.
Express it. What's up, Jay?
Marty?
Yeah.
That thing you saw, was it, that thing you saw, was it in the edge of the Everglades?
You mean the thing that I'm not exactly sure what it was?
Yeah.
Yes, it was in the Everglades, in Big Cypress. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Big Cypress Preserve.
So what did you see?
I go through, I felt like I wanted to share these photos. I've been sitting on them for months and months. And I didn't feel right about like throwing a couple of circles on something and just being like, here, Facebook, check it out. I didn't feel like that was the right way to do it. So on my channel, what I did was I showed my original photos and my metadata, and why I felt these photos are compelling. And I did it in such a way because I wanted people to see, like, there's these particular photos were taken less than a second apart. And the being, everybody says it's a dog man. I do not say it's a dog man. I don't know if it's a dog man. I don't know if it's just a Sasquatch that has a different look. to it. It's not the Sasquatch that I saw that day. I had a sighting, and that was. But what I found in my photos later, looking for what I saw that day, I found this other creature. What this other thing is, I don't know. Everybody likes to say everybody who sees the photos, they think it's a dog man. I don't know. I don't lay claim to it being a dog man. I have no idea. But they existed in the same space. They were only about 75, 80 feet away from each other. I didn't see this thing in person. I saw it later when I was going back looking for the Sasquatch that I saw in the photos. And you see clearly there was, 2 photos taken less than a second apart where in one photo it's looking this direction because Matt was on that side of me. So it's like he's looking at Matt, and then in the next frame he's looking straight at me. So you get literally the side profile, and you get a full frontal like face. And if anybody wants to see the entire breakdown, because I also felt it was important to give context to the entire situation that happened that day. I felt like it's super important, not, when you share your photos or you share your evidence, in my opinion, it's important to kind of give the context, right? So people kind of understand like where you were, what was happening at the time, what, how the whole thing went down. So that's how I shared them. It to me made sense because I felt that it was a responsible way to do it instead of just
were you in the glades looking for it, or you just happened to have a sighting?
We were out doing research that day, yes. Matt and I were on one side of the trail. I had noticed this huge depression. Probably, I have a photo, and in the video that I'm talking about that I shared everything, I show the photo where Matt is literally standing inside this depression, and he's got both of his arms straight out, and he's nowhere near touching either side. And it looked like a bed, like a bedded down like area. And there was like 2 trails that kind of like went behind it in a V shape, and clearly game trails. On each side of this little bed thing were these 2 kind of look like blinds. So we were checking that out, and my daughter-in-law we went off trail checking this area out. She stayed on the trail, and all of a sudden we just heard something come like whipping, like we could hear it whipping through the air. And this stick like went right in front of her face and then landed in between her and us. And I was like, we were like, where did that just come from? And she's like, over there, she's like, so we went over, and I got there first, and I saw from here up, and it was very human. It did not have a conical head. It was auburn color, gray skin. And we locked eyes for 3-4 seconds, and then he just went boop, just like a periscope. That's how I describe it, like a periscope.
Just disappeared.
Yeah, straight down, gone. We heard movement to the left. That's where I thought it went, but that's where this other thing was. My daughter-in-law actually, and I didn't know this until after a month went by, and she was to my right, and she was taking photos that day. And I said, hey, can I go through those photos? Can I just go through those photos? And I went through those photos, and I did find the Sasquatch that I saw and that I described. I do have that photo. I do not share that photo. Only a handful of people have seen that photo. It's a personal experience for me. It was an individual experience for me. So I don't share it. I have never shared it. I will never share it publicly anyway.
Yeah.
But the other thing, I don't know what the heck it is. So, if anybody wants to.
Where can we see that video on your channel?
On my channel, yeah. I actually named it, and only because everybody kept telling me it was a dog man. I just said dog man evidence revealed. I don't know if it's a dog man, but I clearly say that in my on the show. I'm like, I have no idea what the heck this is. So yeah, it's on my channel.
Right
It's
on.
pretty compelling, Russ.
Yeah, I'll check it out. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's very it's like I said, the metadata is what got it for me, right? Like when I saw that these were
Less than a second apart.
Yeah, less than a second apart. And I show the metadata big. I show it. Everybody can see my metadata. The only thing I don't share is the location. I did kind of cut it off, but you can see everything else, all the other data. I just don't share the location.
And you did put circles around it, though.
I did, and only for the purpose of the thing.
I know.
But what did I also do, Jay? I took my original photos and I blew them up. I zoomed in so that everybody could see, like in the original photo, where it is in the location and the background. And you can see how far back it is and how high everything is and how deep everything is. So I felt it was super important for the context.
Yeah, I know. I wouldn't. I was just teasing you. Yeah.
I know. You're always teasing me.
Well, I think the metadata is important, because it proves that you didn't alter.
I didn't alter. Yeah, they're not
alter your photos or anything like that. So people can't argue that.
Yeah.
No, definitely have to go over there.
Yeah, I mean, and I've told anybody that if they want to see them, because we all do know that YouTube does degrade your photos and your videos. I mean, it does, kind of take away from that a little bit. So I told anybody, and I still believe it today. If anybody wants to see that, that photo, I have no problem sending it to whoever they want to. I will never ever share. I will never give out my originals, but sure. I have no problem sharing the photo.
I experience that a lot when somebody sends me photos in Messenger on Facebook. It's like, do you realize that how much image quality is lost sharing something? And Messenger transfers like barely over half of the image quality when you send something in Messenger. Unless you can send it to me in email, I can't really give you an accurate idea of whether or not I feel something's conclusive or not, Yeah. But
how did you feel, Marty? How did you feel when you realized that you did see one?
Well, I had a sighting back in 1986.
Oh,
and
really?
It was a nighttime sighting, and it was on a levee, also in the Everglades. And it was a very my first husband loved to go like snake hunting, right? So we would go out to the Everglades and we would drive on the levees, and you have your headlights and you're looking for snakes because they're going to come to the top of the levee to get warm and all that. So that's what we were doing out there. And all I saw, and it wasn't in the headlights, it was past the headlights. All I saw something black it came up on the levee, like on the side of it came up. And then as it got to the middle of the levee, it started to go from quad, like it was on
all fours.
It was on all fours. And it started to start, like it didn't completely all the way stand up. It was like it started to go up, took one step, and then it was off. But in the middle, when it was making that transition from quad to biped, it looked at us, but it was not inside the lights, and it wasn't eye shine. That's why I was asking Scotty earlier, because mine had red illuminated eyes. This was not eye shine. I know what eye shine is. It was not. It was red illuminating from the inside out. Red. And I told him, put it in reverse. Because you know how it is, Moog.
So they were self-illuminating eyes?
What?
They were self-illuminating eyes?
Yes, they were illuminating from like inside out. It wasn't eye shine at all. I know eye shine. And I've been in the woods and in the, hunting, fishing, all kinds
Sure,
of things
sure.
for years and years and years. Yeah. So,
Huh.
yeah. That's why I asked Scotty what color it was. And when he told me red, I was like, interesting. Because I have heard red, I've heard blue, and I've heard amber. I've heard all
I've read
three.
a lot lately.
A lot.
I mean, even like there's a story from northern New Jersey, and it was a Sasquatch story, and it was called Old Red Eyes. That's how they knew it up there. I don't know.
Yeah.
But for something to self illuminate, I don't know how the hell that would work.
I don't either. I have no idea. None. Because then the other sighting I had was the other one I just told you about was a daytime sighting. So that Sasquatch had, it's hard to describe the color of the eyes. Like,
At what distance were you seeing it?
50 feet.
Okay.
40 feet, 50 feet, not far. Like I want to say an amber color, but not really amber. I more kind of like a gold color, kind of gold. But I'm telling you, what I saw was human. Like
I think there's precedence
human.
in nature that shows that living creatures can self illuminate. We see it a lot in marine biology with bioluminescence and things like that. I don't know that we see it a lot, if any, in vertebrate mammals, but
No.
you know, I would say that I don't know that would show me, you know, like for instance, I don't know that would be an indicator for me, thumbs up or thumbs down, that there's a supernatural capability to it.
No,
I think that it's possible that there's a natural explanation of how it could happen. But I don't know that we have any references that we could compare it to invertebrate mammals. But
yeah, I don't know. Hi, Jay.
You leaving, Jay?
Yeah, I got to get out of here.
Night,
Clean
Jay.
the camera while you're gone.
Okay.
Serious. True story.
Bye-bye.
Get a haircut, Jay.
See you later.
take it easy, Jay.
Just let it grow, Jay. You'll be fine.
Let it go.
You're in that awkward stage, Jay. It's just
he'll be like the Big Lebowski pretty soon. The dude.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I base having, them having abilities. I base that on my own personal experiences. But it's got nothing to do with the color
did
of
she
their
say
eyes.
the photos were on her YouTube or Facebook?
YouTube. Yeah, no, I don't. No, I would never put evidence on Facebook.
She says, found it. Never mind.
Nikki, while you're there, subscribe.
Well, and one other thing, Marty, that you bring up that is an interesting perspective is that it's not just how people's experiences in what they're seeing that they draw conclusions of. It's what they've experienced in their life that they can reference it to.
Right.
Okay. And a good example of that is something that I've shared before. When I was in the military, I was stationed at Fort Benning, Georgia, working at the airborne school. And that's where the 1st and the 2nd of the 75th Rangers are based at. And I had friends that were in the Ranger Battalion that would come over to the airborne school often. And if you looked at somebody who was in a Ranger Battalion, like their 1st or 2nd year, how they move through the woods and how stealthily they can portray themselves in their movement,
right.
It's not exactly a picture of grace, But then you see somebody who's been in for 12, 14 years doing it, and it's like, holy shit, how did he get from there to there? And I didn't. And you start realizing it's because he lives and breathes it, that he does this every day, day in and day out in his unit. They practice that. They just, it's something that I can't wrap my head around because I don't do it at that level. And when we look at Bigfoot, for instance, and say, boy, how did he move from A to B? And I didn't see this, right? It's easy for me or others to say, maybe there's a supernatural explanation. I didn't hear any leaves crunch. I didn't hear any sticks crack. Yet there's deadfall all over the floor. I don't get how it's so still. I can hear a finger snap from 100 yards away. How did it get from A to B? I can't wrap my head around that. So it tends me to lean towards a supernatural explanation. But yet when I was in the military and I see guys who 12, 14 years do this, it may be that this creature exists in the wood 24 hours a day for decades. And its number one priority is to remain elusive. Maybe it got so good at it that I simply can't comprehend how good it could be at it. That makes it harder for me to just throw it at the supernatural explanation of how it did it. But maybe for somebody else who doesn't have that life reference of how good somebody could get at that, maybe they're like, dude, it has to be a supernatural explanation, right?
If they don't have that reference.
I'm just using that as an example of how it's not so much in what we're looking at or experiencing, but people's experience in life and what they have to compare it to might lead them to draw a different conclusion than the other person standing next to them.
I agree with you. That's why I believe they have abilities, because my whole life I've had abilities.
Yep.
So I've experienced it with Sasquatch.
Now what have you experienced? Do you have mind speak things happening? Telepathy, excuse me.
Okay, so how it works for me, and I've talked about this on my channel, so I have a problem talking about it here. How it works for me is I read energy. That's how it starts, right? So I can read energy. So when I was young, when I was little, it was almost like I knew if something was good or bad. That's all I knew. That was like Jeff saying. As a reference, when I was young, I knew something. I always knew it's either good because it feels good, or it's bad because it feels bad.
So this is without it displaying an action to draw that conclusion. You just sensed it.
Yes.
Okay.
So I have, I have the ability, and I have put work into it, and I can read energy. So how I know that it's Sasquatch, and again, this is about my research data, right? So when I go out and I'm researching and I know they're around, my body begins to physically give me information, and I feel things in my body, and then I start reaching out in my mind and feeling the energy around. So I now know, okay, this is happening to me and they're here. And then I start trying to communicate with them. It's hard for me to explain. I know that they hear me. I have not heard a voice in my head. They're communicating with me with their feelings, and I'll know that they're feeling anxious, or they're feeling confused, or they're feeling scared, or they're feeling whatever it is they're feeling. I'm feeling their energy. As that's happening, because I'm feeling and sensing their energy, I can tell where they are around me now. So I'm able to kind of be like, I have a male that's over here at 3:00. I know this sounds crazy, but it's happened numerous times.
I've heard this before, so
yes.
It's not.
So I'm able to discern where they are, and I can usually always tell if it's a male or if it's a female, or if it's an older male or if it's a younger, like if it's juvenile, if it's an adult, like I can always tell those things. Now, what I do generally is I'm telepathically saying to them, it's okay. We're not here to harm you. We're here out of respect, and I'm kind of just reassuring them that we're not there to harm anybody, right? Because that's their general fear of us. That's their main fear of us. Who are we going to hurt them? So after I leave a location, that's when they start communicating with me. they initiate it and they communicate with me. And I think it's because they're not afraid. Like, they know that I can talk to them and that they can talk to me. Like, they know that we can have a back and forth communication going on, but the separation is there because I've left the location. And then they freely give me information. So, you know, that's
What have you learned?
Well, I mean, there was an interesting one that happened. And I was very kind of surprised by this particular information because I had never heard anyone speak about this scenario before. And so when it started coming to me, I was very surprised because I was like, you know, that's interesting. So I left a location. I left a location, and there was an area that we went into that I knew. They call it the wall of fear, right? So sometimes when you go into an area and you get that feeling of, wait a minute, what's
Something's
going
not
on?
right.
I don't feel safe. I think I need to leave right now. Okay, so a lot of people call it the wall of fear, right? So we went into an area and I started picking up, like, how I know that Sasquatch are around is my chest gets extremely tight and I feel like I can't breathe and like someone's sitting on my chest. That's how it feels. So my chest started to get tight, and I'm like, okay, then is when I get that feeling, I know to start kind of scanning and feeling energies. So I knew that there was a female, and I knew that there was a juvenile, and it was, you need to leave. So we left. We're like, we're just being, going to be respectful, but we don't mean harm. So, but we left. They definitely wanted us out of the area, and we left. As soon as I leave the location, I started getting I tell people all the time, like, I know it sounds crazy, but it's true. I started picking up on the fact that it was a female that was the female that I picked up on out there. She started telling me things, and basically it was because, I forgot a part of the story. I'm sorry. As we were leaving the location, as we were walking and hiking back out, there was another male on the other side of the canal that was paralleling us. And this guy was not, he was being a jerk, and he was being very like, yeah, well, I'm the big man on campus and I'm walking you out of here kind of like attitude, right? And so after we left the location, the female started telling me, because I knew that it was a female, I knew that the female, it was a mother and a son. I knew that. So she starts telling me that the guy who was being the jerk, paralleling us out in the very not nice manner he was doing, she was telling us that her son, her mate was the clan leader, and he passed away. So he is deceased. She didn't say how, she didn't say why or what happened. She just said that he was no longer with them anymore. What that means, I don't know what that means, but I picked up on that he passed away. And that her son isn't old enough to lead. Doesn't have enough experience to lead the clan. So this other Sasquatch that was taking us out of there basically thinks he's big man on campus, but he isn't gonna always be. He is actually grooming now, between her and this other male are now grooming him to be the leader of the clan. So I was very surprised to get that information because I'd never really ever heard that before. And I never even considered that could be a thing, like that it could be a thing, that it could be a lineage thing.
A monarchy, or
Yeah.
I know what you mean, where the son
That's
would
pretty
step in after the father.
I mean, do you
Yeah.
think that she was explaining this to you so that maybe you didn't take offense that you were escorted
Yes.
out, so to speak?
Yes.
Because
Yes.
that's I mean, if you break it down comparative to human behavior, let's say you're in a bar, people don't want you there, you've done
Mhm.
something to offend them, and the bouncer or the guy in charge is like, you need to leave. And then he stands there while you walk out the door, or he walks you to the door.
Right.
Walking you to the door is a statement. It's a
Yes.
statement that I am going to escort you out of here.
Mhm.
It's not him asking you to leave. It accomplishes the same thing, but escorting you to the door makes a statement.
Yeah.
And maybe it's her thinking she owes you some explanation as to why that happened.
Yeah, I think that the reason that she did that, and what I was picking up on, is that she felt that we were very respectful and that we were, very respectful of their area. She asked us
It
only
was
one
more of an
time.
Like
apology.
maybe you didn't
Yes.
deserve what you got and how
Yes.
it felt
Mhm.
when you.
Yeah. But she did go, she did give me other information, she did. She gave me other information, but that particular information is what was very surprising to me, because I never would have thought that. I would have just thought it was survival of the fittest, right? Like, okay, the alpha male dies, so the next one in line is gonna just take over. You know what I mean? Like in the animal kingdom, like that's how I always assumed it would work, or it did work, or does work. So when
But
she
to find
said
out
that,
that the son is being
right.
groomed to
And
lead
she-
the
And
land.
maybe
and
the
she even
total-
one of the words that she used with me in this information, prince. She said he's the prince,
Oh wow.
and then
maybe there's some protocol that's being displayed there. Meaning, if I've got a younger person that I'm trying to groom and show them, like, you're going to have this role, whether you like it or not. So I'm trying to prepare you for this, right?
Mhm.
We need them to go, and this is how you get them to go. Maybe you can't just tell them to leave. He's walking you out, not because of how he feels about you, but because he's showing the other guy, this is how
Right.
you do this.
Mhm. But he was being a little bit more okay. Everybody's kind of heard encounters where they talk about people where people will say that they got paralleled out, right? And how that normally happens is, like you take, like you're walking and then you hear
Stop,
them
they
and
stop.
then they'll stop, right? Okay, so he wasn't doing that. He was being very, very like, boom, boom, boom. I'm here. You're going to know I'm here. That's right. I got my eyes on you. There's a canal between us, but I know, you know what I mean? Like, that's how he was being. And
if he's already aware that you are aware that they are there, he has no reason to try to match your footsteps or be stealthy.
But he was just being very aggressive. But I don't mean, when I say aggressive, I do not mean that he was doing anything to us that made us afraid. We weren't afraid. He was just he had swag, you know what I mean? He's like, and we're like, hey, we're already leaving. You don't need to be like that.
Typical guy.
Typical guy.
Gotta explain your exit.
Testosterone, apparently.
No. I don't believe that.
So it was interesting. So yeah.
Well, I think that when it comes to being escorted out of an area, it's not always done in an unfriendly manner. I mean, I think that there are plenty of accounts where, and I experienced it in some of the research that we did last year, that when I would kayak out of an area, I felt like they not only would, like, halfway up that river, I started hearing knocks on the left, then on the right, and then up in front of me on the left, then on the right. It's like they were walking me in. And I felt that, or sensed that also when I left, the first part of the way when I left. And I don't know that it was done in an uninviting manner. It might just be done with this idea that you never acknowledge that we're here, which was the purpose of it. I didn't try to communicate with them or knock back to them or anything like that. But I almost feel like, hey, he's coming. And this is part of their routine now, that, there's a 24-hour window that happens seemingly once a week. And this guy leaves stuff that we're curious about. And maybe it's just that excitement that he's back. I don't like him. I don't like him being here, but I'm looking forward to see what he leaves this time or whatever, you know. And so that's why the escort in and the escort out occurs. It might just be out of reverence of, we appreciate what you're doing here, or we think this is funny, or we think they might think it's a lot of different things, who knows, but they don't seem to be pissed off by it, you know. So
I don't know. I like it. Again, that's my data. You know,
I
that's
think
what my
by
data
nature,
tells me. So.
by nature, they want one thing, and that's for you to leave an area. So when you walk into an area and, you know, they crack a stick thinking, hey, they're going to get uncomfortable and leave, and you don't. And then so maybe they whoop and you're like, hey, what was that? And you keep walking along, like just ignoring what they're trying to accomplish. And they keep ramping this up a little bit, trying to get you to leave, because all they want is for you to just turn around. I don't believe there's an inherent want to hurt somebody. I think those could be involved in last resorts when you just keep ignoring that tiered.
Oh yeah, I definitely agree. I mean, I think that they're definitely going to get their point across. They're going to get what whether you can read energy or not. You know that the first rock is this big, and then the next rock is this big, and then the next rock is this. You get the message.
First rock is
you don't have to have abilities to get that, you know.
Well, like Jeff just said, you know, you ignore it because you're not paying attention. But the word ignore itself is part of ignorant. Exactly. You're ignorant to that, so you're not paying attention. You have you can't go.
No reference for it at all.
Where the hell did the rock come from? You don't put two and two together, so you know it's easy to. But in their mind, they're like, this asshole. How many fucking ways do I have to show him?
Yeah.
So in Jeff's case, it's here. Hold this log. You know, finally. You know.
Yeah.
Well, people are like, oh, you know, when I share that encounter, I mean, I shared it on. I was asked to share it on a channel that recently, like in 6 weeks, it got like 40-some thousand listens or views. And it had like hundreds, over 100 comments on it. I was just kind of curious as to what people were saying. So I was reading the comments, and so many people were like, man, you're lucky to have lived through it. And I'm thinking, dude, if it wanted to kill me, it would have hit me in the first freaking moment.
Was that on my Bigfoot sighting?
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard that.
And I'm just like, you know, I think that it broke a log, and it's like, he'll get out of here now, right? And me not wanting to retreat, not knowing if it's, I had a very strong suspicion it was probably a black bear, and it's the first week of June. I don't know if it's a black bear with cubs. If it's a black bear with cubs, I don't want to run away from it or run down a trail and trigger a pursuit mode or something like that. I thought if I just stand here and watch the deadfall, it seems to be 40 to 50 yards away, I'll see movement. And once I see movement, if I can see that it's moving away from me, I'll move away from it. If I can see that it's holding its ground watching me, I'll put my hands in the air and say something and try to get it to just turn around. I mean, you just don't run and say, God, I hope he doesn't chase me. That's a bad plan, okay? So I'm standing there, and it's thinking, dude, I've stopped this thing. I want you to leave, and I don't. So the next thing would be, I'm going to show myself to you to get you to leave. I mean, but if it wanted to hurt me, it could have cracked me in the head and caved my skull in the first moment I was there. I mean, that's not what it wants. It just wants people to leave. But
yeah, they definitely, I think that they do, or wait, let me rephrase. I think some of them do want to have relationships with us but on their terms, not our terms. And I think that it takes trust to build a relationship with them. And I think over time that it will happen. I don't know when. I don't know. I may not even be alive. It could be another 100 years from now, and maybe my, I don't know, great-great-grandson is the one that builds the relationship. I don't know. I'm just saying I think that, again, my opinion, I feel like we've done all of it. We have audio. We have some videos. we've got footprints, we have a lot of evidence. I don't know why people still question whether it exists or it doesn't exist in my mind. So I feel like we've already got the evidence. Why are we, and this is why I love Shane Carpenter and Randy Harrington, because they are out there building relationships with them. They are beginning that relationship, building with them. And for me, that's where I feel like we're going to get somewhere.
Well, I think a key thing that they're doing is more in what they're not doing. And I compare that to the way we approached it last year with our research, was that I'm not going to try to speak a language that I don't understand. I'm not going to try to knock on trees assuming that I know what 2 knocks means versus what 3 knocks means. I'm not going to try to speak Japanese at a restaurant when I don't know how to speak Japanese. I don't want to order something that I don't want to eat, right? I don't want to tell Jackie Chan something in what sounds like Chinese and find out that I just challenged him to a fight. Now I'm going to get my ass kicked.
Or he said something about his mother. I mean,
yeah. So my plan is not to go in and try to do these things that so many researchers seem to do. And I believe that their weakest probably approach to them is their curiosity. If you can leverage your curiosity, if they don't perceive you as a threat to them or their family or whatever, they might express that curiosity a little longer when they look out behind a tree, a little longer before they retreat back. And eventually, if you keep visiting that same area, and you keep not posing a threat or trying to do something that they don't get, like, why are you trying to scream at me? Do you know what that means?
Right.
As long as you just keep visiting that area and trying to study them without appearing to be trying to study them, so to speak, or communicate with them, I think they get more and more comfortable with showing their curiosity, where that bridges into maybe I'm comfortable in letting you get to know more about me before I want to run away. And from what I understand with Randy and Shane is they are not going into that area screaming and whooping and banging on trees. They're going in there with a drone and they're going in there observing. And with that's it. They're finding trackways because they're simply observing. They aren't standing there screaming into the night trying to see if something screams back.
It's the intention that you have. I'm telling you, the intention you have in your heart is what they know. That's what they judge us on. And if you go in and don't show respect, you get ungats.
So that's a good point. When we talked about what we were going to, when we talked about what we were going to try to do with research, what we talked, a lot of it was, are they capable of sensing an IR device? Are they capable of sensing motion detection? Are they capable of sensing battery presence? And we didn't know the answers, right? I mean, there's a lot of debate on those things. So a lot of people who speak factually as if they know the answer, and it's all bullshit because nobody knows that answer.
Nobody knows anything.
So what we said is, since we don't know the answer, let's not bring those types of devices into the area. Now, the fact that it was comfortable with me being there, is that because I didn't bring the devices in that would bother it? Or is it because it's aware that I was mindful of that? And they appreciated that. That's two different things. Are they comfortable and okay to express curiosity because those devices don't physically exist in the area now? Or are they comfortable saying, hey, this dude didn't bring them because he understands that we aren't comfortable with them?
I can tell you.
And I'm not saying that they're capable of that. Again, I know you believe that they are. I'm not saying that they are. I'm just saying that that's a possibility that they could have sensed that.
Okay, you're asking me the question, so let me answer. So here's the thing. Again, my research, my data. When I've had these interactions, we've had cameras rolling, we've had audio rolling, we've had, we were even literally 10 minutes before this whole interaction that I told you guys about. Literally 10 minutes before that, we were just sitting down with the Necrophonic app doing an EVP session, literally talking to dead people. So it's like, we had no idea that they were 50 feet away from us. We had no idea. Like, everything was rolling. We had it all going. And we still had an interaction. I believe it's when you go in with the intention of being respectful. Doesn't, in my opinion, doesn't matter what you have going or not going, or with you or not with you. It's how you go in with respect.
It's your intent.
Yeah.
Okay. And I appreciate that. I appreciate your point of view there. I completely understand why you hold that point of view. If I went out and put a game camera
Mm-hmm.
in a very remote area and
Mm-hmm.
left it there for 6 months and came back and retrieved it, nobody was there for 6 months to display respect or disrespect.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody was. But yet they still didn't walk in front of it.
But here's what I can tell you.
So could they sense something about that camera's physical presence? Because I wasn't there to display respect or disrespect.
Listen, I've had people on my show that have shared privately with me game cam photos. I can tell you there are photos that exist on game cams, on game cams, okay? I've seen them. Now, not my photos to share. Never, ever will. Never, ever. Somebody sends me something, that's it. It's private, period. But I'm telling you, they exist. They are out there. I've seen video and I have seen stills from game cams. So I know they're out there. I've also seen game cam photos of portals. I've seen a lot of stuff. Matt in his Panhandle Monsters film on his channel on Supernatural Spectrum, he actually has the trail cam photos of the portal opening up. They're there. You can go and see them. It's definitely a portal. You can't mistake it. It's not, these things are out there, but not everybody wants to share these things for a whole bunch of different reasons, I think. Number one
is the ridicule.
Yes, that's exactly. Number one.
If you were to gauge risk versus reward accurately in these situations, there isn't any reward that would overweigh the risk for a lot of people. I
love you too, Judy.
I'm gonna say, dude, that's a no-brainer. I'd share it. That's not a no-brainer for everybody.
No, all I can tell you is what I've seen. I have seen. I can tell you about it. I can't show you, but they are out there.
Well, I'm aware that there are game camera photos. Trust me, I'm aware.
I would hope if you know Doug,
I have 36
then
game
I'm
cameras.
sure
I have 36 game cameras in very, very remote areas, and I went and collected 36 SD cards here about 3 weeks ago, and I have literally thousands of hours of video to go through. I mean, I haven't even put a dent in it. But I can tell you from what I've seen from other areas, I can tell you, I mean, there is, I seen the video originally when it was put out from the security camera of the casino in Wisconsin that has one walking right behind that casino in
dumpster diving.
Well, it was more of a it's like the edge of where a tree line starts. Like there's a kind of a, what do you call it? A buffer area, like between the casino and where the trees are. But plain as day. And then all of a sudden we aren't showing anybody, and nobody's going to convince them to show anybody. Right. But
Yeah, I mean, I just think that the evidence is out there. It's
And
not,
there's a lot
for
of
me, it's not
reasons
the
for that. We have
evidence
to,
that's important. It's the building of the relationship.
We
That,
have-
for me, is what we need to be geared towards, in my opinion.
we have to be mindful that not everybody wants to prove that they exist.
Of course.
I believe
Very
that
mindful
I
of
believe
that.
that casino, that tribal casino, does not see any good coming from proving
Mhm.
that they exist. They would rather that they are remained left alone,
Mhm.
and that's likely why that that security camera footage never made it to the public eye, because they don't see the value in it. So, and I think a lot of times we think, well, dude, if you got the pictures, why don't you put them out there? Not everybody thinks like that. A
No.
lot of people think that the worst thing we could do is prove that they exist.
Yeah. It's true. It's true. I'm not
Well,
going to dispute that. There's just,
we've been at this for almost 2.5
Yes.
hours.
I just looked at the time and I'm like, oh my gosh, I gotta go. I gotta get going. But
Where
thank you
in
guys.
Florida are you?
I'm in Palm Beach, so not far from y'all.
No, not at all. Right on.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have to get together and
you know where I want to
woods.
go? You and Steve, you have to come down and go camping with us over at I haven't been camping there yet, but I want to. It's called Loop Road. It's in Ochopee. And
that's
there's
down there. That's way down there.
Yeah. But it's like filled with tons of sightings. I want to do like an overnight camp and just.
Well, that's where the Skunk Ape headquarters is, right?
Yeah. Not far from there.
I've been there.
Yeah. We got to do that. You guys got to come down and go camping with us. I have my McMansion tent, so.
I have a pop-up I drag all over the place.
Perfect. Y'all need to come. But they have Dave Shealy's place has got a lot of he's got nice camping there too at his place, actually. He's got spots, but I want to do the primitive camping, like out there.
Right on. Well, we'll definitely make plans for that.
Absolutely. All right, guys. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
I appreciate you putting up with me.
No, it
was a joy. I appreciate listening to your experiences and your viewpoints. It's awesome.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
All right, guys.
Hope to
Good
see you
night,
again
everybody.
soon.
All
Thank
right.
you. Good night.
Good night.
We'll see you.
Yeah, that was cool.
You take care, Moggs. You go land your plane. I'll sit back if you want me to. Otherwise, I'll pop off.
Yeah, you can go do your thing, man. I'm just gonna, like you say, land this plane.
Yeah, you take it easy. Appreciate you inviting me on. I really wasn't planning on it, but I don't think there's anything unhealthy talking about what's going on. I mean, I certainly don't have, just to recap that, I don't have any disrespect for anybody. I mean, I really don't. I respect other people's opinions. If they don't want to watch, don't watch. I invite you not to watch.
Move along.
All right, buddy. We'll talk to you later.
Right. Thanks, Jeff. Good night. Well, guys, another Tuesday in the books. Really appreciate everybody coming on tonight. Marty, it was great to see you. And again, I wasn't trying to stir, I just, there's too much dissension, in the ranks here. Just respect one another, guys. Yes, we're entitled to our opinions, but don't be mean to other people and try to ruin their, research or you don't, like they said, you don't want to watch, move along, or get off your ass and go, do your own research, despite what Marty just says, yes, they exist. I believe her, but I need to see it for myself, but anyway. All right, guys, like I said, be nice to one another. All right. Take care of one another. Thank you so much. If you guys enjoyed the show, please hit that like button below. If you're new, subscribe and share. Also leave comments. I love getting comments. They're fun. And it's I guess it does something for the channel too. Analog, or what's it called? Yeah, whatever. What? Algorithms? Yeah, that's it. Anyway. All right, guys. I will see you guys in 2 days. All right. See you then. Good night. Peace and God bless. If I can get it to turn off. There we go.